Hey babes, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I have tons of new videos coming out, and if you're returning, thank you for coming back. Now today is a how-to video. I wanted to show you guys how I achieved this cute little bob look. It's very beginner friendly, and what I wanted to do is for people who are just now starting to maybe get into making units. This is for the people who don't know how to necessarily sew on hair and who just kind of want something quick and easy and something they can just throw on and go. So in this video, I did not use the sewing method. I used the glue method to make this unit. Like I said, it's very beginner friendly. I also showed you just the easy way to learn how to cut if you're not used to cutting hair. It's just a super simple way, and I think that anybody can do this hairstyle. So if you're interested in learning more about how I got this look, please stay tuned. So I'm taking this glue and I'm sticking it on the track, and I'm putting the track on this cap. And as you can see, I am pressing that track down on the cap just to make sure that glue is dried and that glue is sticking to the cap. And then I'm taking my blow dryer and I'm just moving it around, and I'm sticking my hand on the track just to make sure that it's stuck. I cut my tracks out. I measure it first and then I cut it out. And I use this glue. I haven't tried any other brand of glue. I don't use the glue gun method. I haven't tried it, but the same method applies. I'm sticking that track onto that cap, and I'm just pressing my hands on the track just to make sure it's drying and that it's sticking. And then I'm taking my blow dryer. My blow dryer is on a high heat. That's just the best. It just helps it dry faster for me. So this process is pretty repetitive. I'm taking my blow dryer again, and I'm just making sure that that track is stuck on there. Now you can see where I tug on that track. I tug on the track to make sure that the track is stuck to the cap, because you don't want to get to the top of your unit and realize that something didn't stick to the cap and that your track is hanging. Now this track keeps falling, but when that track falls, you want to make sure you lift it up and put it in the right spot, because you don't want to get to the top and then realize that you didn't put enough space at the bottom and that you're running out of hair or tracks at the top. You want to make sure when you're at the top that the tracks are closer than the tracks are at the bottom of the unit. And I'm just turning my unit around. It's important to make sure that you're turning that canvas head around so you can see exactly where you're placing your tracks. Here you can see where I'm starting to place the tracks in a U shape. And when I mean a U shape, you just kind of want to start to curve the tracks around that closure. Now on that closure, I did sew it down. I did not glue it. I don't know if people do glue their closures, but I always sew the closure down first. And now you can see that I'm brushing the tracks. You want to make sure you're brushing just to make sure those tracks are stuck onto that cap and that you're just getting all those tangles out while you're making your unit. And I'm continuing that U shape or that V shape, just whatever suits you. But I'm continuing that shape just so when I get to the top of this unit by the closure, it'll fit so perfectly into that little spot and it'll be seamless. And I'm just using that blow dryer just to make sure it's stuck on there, stuck on the cap. Now this is what I mean when I say that U shape. Now here I'm starting to cut my blunt cut. Please excuse my ashy elbow. But you see, I already put it into a ponytail and I'm cutting it into a downward motion. Now this is just to ensure, no, the cut won't be precise, but it will be close enough where you can kind of just go through and fix it easily. Now, my scissors aren't sharp. If you aren't really good with cutting hair, I do suggest that you get sharper scissors. I'm pretty used to kind of cutting my units, so it's not too bad, but it does make it easier, especially if you're a beginner, to have something sharp, so you won't have to keep cutting, just to make sure you get that cut precise. Now right here, I'm just kind of cutting excess hair away, and then you're going to see where I'm starting to grab pieces of the hair so I can compare it to another part of the hair, just to make sure all of the hair is even. So it's easy to section off pieces of the hair and compare it to another section. And I do this all the way around the unit. And I just use my fingers to guide me to that straight cut. And I don't cut straight across because it's actually harder that way, in my opinion. It's easier to compare. And if you see, I am going under that unit to make sure I get the hair in the middle on the inside of the unit, to make sure that's cut evenly as well. If you don't make sure you get that hair in the middle of the unit at the bottom, it could be, your cut could actually be, could be messy, and it won't be a blunt, straight, precise cut. So here you see me parting the closure in the middle, just to make sure that it's even on both sides. Now I start to cut, because at the front you want to make sure that it's cut precise on each side, just to make sure that that unit is even. And right now I'm just cleaning up the cut. I'm just going around making sure that it's precise and that it's neat, because that's really important. You want to make sure that you go back and check your work and spin that canvas head around if you need to, just to make sure that your work is precise. This is the part that you kind of don't want to be sloppy with, because it'll determine how your wig turns out, especially when you get to the front. You don't want one side longer than you want the other, and you don't want that on your unit at all. You just want to go and make sure your work is clean, and there's nothing wrong with double checking or triple checking if you have to, just to make sure that that cut is even. And as you can see, I'm just turning that canvas head around. I've probably turned it around 2 or 3 times, but it's important to make sure that you do that. Now that the hard part is complete, we're on everyone's favorite part, and that's the styling. So I'm taking that clip to keep the hair out of the way while I flat iron. So I'm taking it section by section and using my Baby Bliss flat iron. You guys, I love that flat iron. Like, I swear by it. I love all of Baby Bliss products. I have another one of their flat irons, and I also have their curling irons. So I'm just sectioning those pieces off, and I have my flat iron set to high heat. And then I'm just making sure that I'm going over it and taking my time and tracing it with the comb and just combing through it at the end. And you can see if I feel like I missed a spot, I'm just going back in and I'm bumping it a little at the end, not too much of a bump. And grabbing those pieces in the front that I feel like I missed. Now when I get to the top, I don't have my mousse to get those flyaways. So I'm just taking my flat iron and hitting the top of that closure just to make sure that it's nice and flat. And I'm just, like I said, going over pieces that I felt like I probably missed or I didn't grab, or I just want to be a little straighter. I'm just combing through it. Same thing with the back. I have it sectioned off. And I'm going to put that hair to the side. And then I'm taking a section out of this, combing through it. And as you can see, I'm not making the sections too small or too big. They're just perfect. The hair, I only have 2 bundles on this unit, and the hair is short, so there's no need to go track by track or take really thin pieces. Now, I have finished this side, and you can see how beautiful and bouncy it is. And just because of who I am, I'm just still going back and just bumping that just to make sure it's perfect to my liking. And you can just see how beautiful that hair is when I comb through. So here I'm just showing you how pretty this hair is and how beautiful that cut looks and that flat iron looks. Now I have not did the other side yet, but I'm just showing you a comparison. And that's just the difference between the 2 sides, the flat iron side and the side that hasn't been touched yet. And this is just after I finished the unit. You can see how beautiful it turns out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video.